You know what silence sounds like when you realize your parents stopped believing in you? It's the sound of coffee cups clinking, of sighs disguised as advice. That night, I sat in the living room, invisible in my own home, listening to the people who raised me explain why my dreams were too expensive. That I didn't argue. I didn't cry, because I already knew something they didn't. My silence was the sound of building an empire. Dad had that look again. The one he used when he was trying to make disappointment sound like love. Be realistic, Ava, he said, pushing aside the brochure I'd brought home from Harvard. Private universities aren't for people like us. Your mother's medical bills, the mortgage. He didn't finish. He didn't have to. Mom nodded softly, her hands folded in her lap. Sweetheart, community college is a good start. You can transfer later. Transfer later, that was her way of saying dream smaller. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I didn't check it. I didn't need to. It was another update from the small tech company I'd built in high school, the one they thought was just a cute little website. They didn't know I'd already started buying up half the university's digital infrastructure, quietly, under another name. My sister, Claire, smirked from her designer armchair, the one my parents gave her when she finished her MBA. Scholarships barely cover books, she laughed. Some of us actually work for a living, Ava. Her words were sharp, but they didn't cut. Not anymore, because the world had already started whispering my name. They just didn't know it was mine. Another notification flashed on my phone. Stock split approved. Current valuation, $42 billion. That I turned the screen face down and looked at my father. What about work study? I asked, just to play along. He brightened. Good thinking. Professor Lang says there might be a cafeteria position opening up. I nodded, pretending that sounded like a plan. They didn't realize that tomorrow, the university would announce its largest donation in history, from the same tech group I owned in secret. Maybe you should work for your sister's firm, Mom offered gently. They're hiring assistants. Claire tilted her chin. I could put in a word. File clerk just opened up. Perfect for you. I smiled. Thanks. I'll think about it. But my phone buzzed again. Press embargo lifts tomorrow at 10 a.m. All major networks confirmed. They thought I lived in the basement. They didn't know I owned the penthouse above the skyline. Dad's phone rang. Turn on the news, his colleagues shouted. We all looked up. The local station was buzzing with rumors about a mysterious billionaire donating $50 million to the university. Claire rolled her eyes. Must be nice, she said. Meanwhile, Ava can't even afford tuition. I looked at the clock. In less than 24 hours, they'd find out exactly what I could afford. The next morning, the auditorium shimmered with curiosity. My parents sat in the third row, my sister scrolling through work emails like she was too important to be there. The chancellor stepped up to the podium, his voice trembling with excitement. Today, he said, we celebrate the largest single donation in this university's history, $50 million for technology and scholarships. Dad leaned forward. Mom whispered, who could it be? And the donor, the chancellor continued, is one of our own, a former student applicant who turned rejection into innovation. He paused. Please welcome, the founder and CEO of EtherTech Global. Ava Reynolds. The air cracked open. Claire's phone slid from her hand and clattered on the floor. Dad's mouth opened. No sound. Mom's teacup shattered. I walked to the podium, steady and calm, wearing the same black blazer they once called cheap. Thank you, I began softly. Not long ago, I was told community college was more my budget. A ripple of laughter moved through the hall. Today, I'm proud to say, that budget has expanded a little. The screen behind me came alive. The Ava Reynolds School of Technology, the Reynolds Innovation Scholarship Fund. I glanced toward my sister. That little website you laughed at? I said gently, it's now used by 40 million students across the world. The audience erupted in applause. Mom's eyes filled with tears. Not pride yet, just disbelief. Dad looked like he was seeing me for the first time. Weeks later, Sunday dinners felt different. Dad wore his new dean's blazer. Mom stopped suggesting real jobs. Claire, well, she listened more and laughed less. Sometimes, when the news would play my interviews about free global education, AI learning tools, scholarships, Mom would whisper, all this time, you were building this? And I'd say, all this time, I was building meaning. Because that's what no one understood. I didn't create technology to get rich, that I created it so no kid ever has to sit in a living room and be told their dreams are too expensive. As I stood on the balcony of my penthouse that night, city lights glimmering like data points on a global map, I realized something. Success doesn't sound like applause, that it sounds like peace. The quiet hum of a world you helped make better. They told me to be realistic. So I built a reality big enough for all of us.